All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Jace Austin, and we are in what week are we in? This is week number 11. Week number 11 of your collection development and management class. Um, it will be week number 11 until Thursday. Um, few things. First, I do want to thank you all for the notes regarding the passing of my uncle. It's been very hard for us. It continues to be very hard for us, but hearing from you all definitely helped as my family and I continue to deal with that. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for that. We're very appreciative. Um, Second thing that I wanted to tell you all, and I know this is easier said than done. Believe me, I realize this is easier said than done because I did actually 51 hours at the master's degree level for my library science degree, and then I worked on a PhD for 5.5 years um, in this field. So I know easier said than done. I know how frustrating it is to be a student, trust me, because I have spent many, many years being a student. But I do want to just say, um, I want to just say that as hard as this sounds, we're going to be okay. All right. There are a few of you that I need to reach out to, but for the most part, even if your grade doesn't look good right now, um, first of all, there are some other grades to put in, but second of all, just trust me when I tell you the grading is not going to be terribly strict in this first iteration of me teaching this course. Um, Beth and I, we've been in constant contact. Dr. Brindler and I have been in pretty constant contact. I know that the budget quiz had a lot of you stressed out. It had a few in her class stressed out as well. We understand, and I know some of you are still working on it, by the way. Please continue. I am reviewing the quiz. The I'm not just taking the score that Canvas assigns and just leaving that as the final score. I am double checking and making sure that the scores are fair, and there are some things with calculations that can make them one or two numbers off. So if I'm seeing that if we're within like one or two numbers, then I'm going back in and correcting the quiz grades and giving them higher scores. So some of you have already noticed that, and as the rest of you continue to take the quiz and complete the quiz, others of you are going to see that as well. So don't panic. It's going to be okay. Trust the process. If you are in danger of getting anything lower than a B, then I will contact you and let you know that within the next week or so. So I know everyone is stressed out and frantic, and believe me, it's very stressful to teach a class for the first time too. I'm not sure you all really want to hear that, but just know that you're not the only ones going through some stress right now. So, but we're going to get through it because we are resilient. Librarians are always resilient, and that just is what it is. So, having said that, your groups have been assigned for the group project. I made an announcement about that yesterday. So make sure you are getting in touch with your groups and getting started on those assignments. If you have any trouble getting in touch with any of your group members, please let me know, and I will try to follow up with them and see what is going on. There will be evaluations for group members, by the way, so just be prepared. That is going to happen. So if you do not pull your weight in your group, I am going to know. Okay, so that is pretty much all of that. Um, I hope everyone had a happy Halloween. What we are going to do just really quickly is we are going to, if you want to read this article on your own, we have a URL up here. You can also Google this, the 4 stages of a successful library vendor relationship. The one thing that I want you all to, as you go into professional practice, first of all, some of you are going to possibly become vendors. I wouldn't be surprised if at least 2 of you eventually go from being librarians to being vendors, and that is perfectly fine. Vendors a lot of times stand to make more money, and if you've got the gift to sell, then you should possibly sell. I think the only reason that I don't sell anything and I'm not a salesman is because I don't have that gift. I have never convinced anyone, I don't think, who wasn't a relative or a friend to ever buy something from me. So that's just what it is. But um, some of you are going to become vendors, and again, no shame in that. A lot of the vendors like EBSCO and ProQuest and Amigos, Mango, all of these different places, a lot of them actually hire former librarians or people with library science degrees to work in their companies. So keep that in mind if you get this degree but then decide the librarianship thing isn't for you. There may be some for-profit vendor opportunities for you, or you can come up with your own product, which is how a lot of these products actually got started that we use in libraries today. Um, Another thing for those of you who are not going to become vendors, but who are going to work with vendors, first of all, don't be shy. When asking or requesting that your vendors do something, because trust me, your vendors are going to be very, very, very aggressive and adamant. Maybe I shouldn't say the word aggressive, but adamant certainly fits. And this job that I have at UMKC, this is actually the first time in a long time that I have not had vendors calling me quite a bit. At Coastal Carolina, I had vendors calling me quite a bit, and at the community college that I worked at in Columbia, South Carolina, vendors were trying to call my boss, but they ended up with me because, I made sure that my boss was protected and that her time wasn't going to the vendors. So I played with the vendors instead. But what I wanted y'all to note with this article was just, there can be benefits when you have a successful partnership between the libraries and the vendors, when you have a good working relationship. And again, I would say don't be shy. One of the things I did while I was at Coastal Carolina, we were weighing whether or not to switch from Nexus Uni as our source for academic, for legal, like academic slash legal resources. That probably won't make sense since you actually see what Nexus Uni does if you haven't seen that. But it's not quite a law database in the same way that Westlaw database is, and it's not quite, it's not quite academic either. So it's got a blend, but it's got a lot of legal stuff and a lot of legal resources in it. So Nexus Uni is, I think, it's a good, I would say it's a good database for universities that need some sort of law database but do not have a law school themselves, and that's what Coastal Carolina was. Coastal Carolina did need a good legal database because of some of their business classes. They had to know about business law and things of that nature. But Coastal Carolina did not have a law school, so they did not need the upper echelon law databases. They did not need the full LexisNexis package that I think would give you all of the legal resources, because I think that Nexus Uni has like a selection. But we were switching from Nexus Uni to Westlaw, and it was also, I think it might have been Westlaw Academic actually that we switched over to. It wasn't the full Westlaw package for legal either. But anyway, one thing that I did was I had one of the reps for Westlaw come and give a presentation to the business school at Coastal Carolina as we were making that decision because we did not want to just leave our professors in the business school who are used to Nexus Uni high and dry. We wanted to give them some input in whether or not we would switch from Nexus Uni to Westlaw Academic. After the vendor trialed Westlaw Academic for the business school at Coastal Carolina, the response was overwhelmingly in favor of going with Westlaw. But don't be shy about bringing those vendors down to do presentations, to call them and have them walk you through the databases if you find yourself with idle time. Like seriously, those are legitimate uses of time and legitimate uses of vendors from the librarian's standpoint. Now, oh, no. Ugh, all this football stuff. Where is that coming from? Where is my box? There we go. Okay, I am so sorry about that. But so we've got four things here that you can kind of look at. This is a very quick read. I love this quote: "A successful partnership provides mutual benefits for both the library and the vendor. The library benefits from the expertise, resources, and economies of scale that the vendor can offer, while the vendor benefits from the perspective and workflow knowledge that the library can provide." And by the way, the vendors actually do get feedback from librarians, so they're not just paying lip service. They want more than just the money. I mean, I'm sure that the money is mainly what they want. It's like 90% of what they want. But for instance, I had a phone conversation last semester with a representative from JSTOR, and they wanted just feedback on their product, and I gave it to them. So, you know, that's what that is. So yeah, the vendors will be looking for more than money. They love feedback and they love the opportunity to improve their products. Um, and then these are just the four stages. Identify your goals. This is according to EBSCO, by the way. EBSCO being a vendor. So what I wanted to do was provide you with a link to something that was on the vendor side and not the librarian side. So there are four steps, and if you want to read this in more depth, then you can. There's a presentation attached, I believe, as well. But four steps: identifying the goals, finding and vetting the partners, caring and feeding a partnership, and then ending the partnership. Now, the thing with ending a vendor partnership is that for one thing, it's kind of weird that they don't necessarily end. It's kind of like with the vendor partnerships, it can be kind of like if you in that partnership, like for instance, if you drop a resource like Nexus Uni or you drop JSTOR or whatever you're dropping, there are I don't know if they actually call them customer loyalty people, but there are certainly people that work for these companies that um, behave as though they are um, customer loyalty specialists. And customer loyalty specialists, if you've ever gotten a call from them, and I've gotten many, those are the people that call you after you drop a service and try to convince you to come back. Usually they will offer you something in order to do so. So I would just say that those relationships with vendors, they don't end very cleanly because they might still be calling you or trying to get up with you. But then also, a lot of times they can be repaired, you know, with the right touch, with the right approach, the right tone, the right attitude. And just because you drop a product at some point doesn't mean that you can't go and get it back. So if you want to get more perspective from the vendor side, again, EBSCO has a little something something for you, and it's the four stages of a successful library vendor relationship. Google that, check it out. We'll keep this under 15 minutes, but like I said, you all just be encouraged, be just, you know, just it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Anyone who is at risk of getting a C or lower in the class, I will let you know. Thank you so much. Y'all been all that. I've been Dr. Jace. I gotta split in kind of a haste. Later.